Hey guys, today I'm filming a January/February homeschool update. So the last update I did was our mid-year update, which was kind of at the end of our first semester. I think I uploaded that beginning of January. I have 2 months to report on, and I thought I'd just start with my fourth grader, show you kind of what he's finished up and kind of where we're, maybe a little bit of where we're headed. But okay, so first of all, he was doing Curiosity Chronicles snapshots of ancient history for history, and he finished this. So he is completely done with his history. He did Hearth and Story literature for part of his language arts. He has finished this. I did make a review on this. I need to actually go back and edit that because I forgot to include one of the short stories that he did. Somehow it was not put in my binder. But anyway, he has finished this plus, so he did all of the short story units, the novel studies, and the poetry, and then he also did one novel study from the fourth grade literature. So that's done. And so now for literature, what we're doing for the remainder of the year is I've paired a novel. He's doing, say, unit studies from Harbor and Sprout. We're doing beekeeping right now, and then he'll do ornithology. And I just paired one novel with each of those. So he also finished up his fourth grade social studies for Ohio. That's done. He finished the fourth grade daily science from Evan Moore, and so he has moved on to the fifth grade now. And that's going well. I talked about this in my mid-year update. He finished Dimensions 4A. We are now in 4B, and I think we just finished chapter 12. So we're on to starting chapter 13 this week. He finished vocabulary workshop from Sadlier. And he just finished his Harcourt Health and Fitness. Is that everything? I think that's everything. He finished up a lot of his curriculum here in the last month or two. So he's working on this for science. I told you about math. He's still working on building spelling skills from Evan Moore. We started this mid-year, so he won't finish this year, and that's fine. What changes? Have we made any changes? Okay, so we've been trying to work through this book and just never finding enough time to fit it in. And so I had decided once he finished health, we would sub this in for his health so that we could more consistently work on this. But what I actually decided is we're going to put this on hold, and instead of this during his health time slot, we're going to work through this, which is, I don't know if these are the same publisher. They must be, because yeah, they are. They're set up identical, but this one is called Social Skills Activities for Kids, 50 Fun Exercises for Making Friends, Talking and Listening, and Understanding Social Rules. This is just kind of a need that we've seen, and so I think it's more important for him that we work through this one right now than this one. So we'll come back to this, at some point, but right now we're going to move over to working on that one. Let's see what else he's doing. As I mentioned, he's doing some unit studies now. He's working through beekeeping right now. And for art, he's working through this book. That's still going fine. He should finish that by the end of the year. What else? He still does morning clipboard. I still need to we do sentence analysis, and then he does the math sprints from Dimensions. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, he still does is doing Fix It Grammar. This goes to week 30. We are starting week 27 this week, so he will finish this relatively soon. He's also working through this word speller music. Actually, he's almost done with this. Yeah, he'll finish that up pretty soon too. Okay, also for my 4th grader, he finished a lot of stuff for writing, but I think where I left off in my mid-year update was we were finishing up IEW's people and places in our community. He finished that. I made a whole separate video on kind of where we were going, a review of that and kind of where we were going with writing. And in that I talked about we were going to try to work through some of the Hearth and Story 5th grade writing because he will be doing 6th grade Hearth and Story next year. And I just want to make sure he's ready for that. So we are working through this. We are using, also using RightSource to help bridge any gaps. And we are using a informational writing unit from the Teacher Next Door on Teachers Pay Teachers. Very, very well done, her units on writing. So we are pulling some pieces from that as well. And yeah, it's going well. He wrote, so basically we're moving through this slower than I thought we would because there's no need really to rush it. I want to make sure that, you know, he's fairly solid so that we're not struggling when we move into 6th grade next year. So the last writing assignment that we did in People and Places in our community was about a job that you found interesting or would like to do. So we built off of that and used that as, let's see, what was the assignment in here? They were doing, basically they were brainstorming essay ideas, like write about 3 people who inspire you. So we chose to do 3 jobs that you found interesting. So that's what he's been using to kind of work through this. And then we just stop and pull things from here or things from here. So right now, so he wrote, I should say this, he wrote that paper in here and we are to the revising and editing portion. And now that we're to that portion, I'm pulling in things like, let's really work on that introductory paragraph. Let's make sure we're really strong on our thesis, our background information, all of that. So he did all of that. We typed it so that it'd be easier to do editing. And that's where we are right now. So we're going much slower through this and likely we won't get through all the essays that I wanted to get through in here, but I think that that's okay. He'll still be okay for next year. But at any rate, that's kind of where we are with his writing, where we've been and where we are going. That is my 4th grader's update. Oh, and he's still doing his Friday work as well. And this just varies what I put in here. We do sometimes reading comprehension. He does a sprint. I'm reusing these studies weekly that I had for my daughter. He was doing these with his social studies workbook, but we didn't get through all of them. So I put some of those in his Friday folder. He does spelling tests. So this we're still doing. But at any rate, that is the update for my 4th grader. I think everything's going well, but if you have any questions, if I didn't mention something, just let me know and I can answer that. And let me move on to my 7th grade. A ton of changes or like curriculum finished in the past 2 months, but we're just keeping on. I actually guess she's finished a few things. So for math, we are just about done with our unit 10 in Math with Confidence. There are, I believe, 15 units. Only through unit 11 is out right now. So we're right on track where we should be for that. And that's, you know, still going fine. We had added in, I think I mentioned in my mid-year update, we have added in Math UC for her, just as kind of another component to help her. And we started back a few levels to make sure her foundation was strong and just give her, I don't know, we're trying it out. It's working well. I'm liking it, but she is finished with Gamma now. And so we will move on to Delta. So this went well. We obviously moved through this faster than if she were a third grader or fourth, whatever grade starts with Gamma, I don't know. But we watched every single video, and we did a handful of pages. You know, if you're familiar with Math UC, you know that each lesson has, I think, let's see, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I think 7 pages front and back, I think, plus we have a test. So she does a few pages from the unit. If they go well and she got everything right, then she moves on and takes the test at the end of the week. If she struggled with some, I may go back and have her do another worksheet, but she typically has been doing just one lesson a day. So we're just moving through it faster. It will slow down as we get to more difficult concepts, but I will say that even though she knows how to do multi-digit and single-digit multiplication, there were still little things here and there in the videos for this that taught her something new that she didn't know. So I think it's been worthwhile, and we will start Delta next week. All right, Lightning Literature is going fine. You may remember that I kind of had to rearrange what we were doing in here. I pulled out poetry and just a few other things so that we could also finish up IEW structure and style. So I originally had her doing Lightning Literature and skipping the writing and then doing structure and style in the same week, and that wasn't working. And so anyway, I rearranged everything, and yeah, so all she has left now for Lightning Literature are 2 more books. So she is reading A Day of Pleasure and All Creatures Great and Small. Now, what I decided to do for these 2 books for the remainder of the year in Lightning Lit is she is not doing the writing. We need to focus in now on IEW. So she's not going to do the writing, and I'm not having, the only thing I'm having her do when she reads these books is the comprehension questions. We have grammar in other places, and so we're good, and I kind of looked ahead at the grammar for these 2 novels, and I don't find it to be necessary for where we are. And the other lessons are related to writing, which we're not going to do from this point forward. So this is what she has left to finish for Lightning Lit, along with the comprehension questions and like discussions with me. And then for IEW, yeah, so for structure and style, she is on to week 17, and she will now be doing structure and style every week. We're alternating, but now that Lightning Lit is to a more manageable place, she can do this every week. This is a 23-week program. We started it last year and then have been putting in bits and pieces this year. So week 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So she has 7 units left of structure and style. All right, what else for her? Okay, so she finished her Thriving with ADHD workbook for teens. That is all completely done. From here, if you remember from my second semester plans video, I still have these other books that I want her to work through. So she'll be moving on to one of these. I'm not sure which one that's going to be yet, but she'll be moving on now that she's finished the Thriving with ADHD book. All right, she finished Science Mom Biology 2, so that means she did Biology 1 first semester, and now she finished Biology 2, so she's completely finished a full year's worth of middle school biology. She really enjoyed that, but my kids both really like Science Mom. All right, popping in here real quick because I realized I forgot to mention now that we're finished with biology, where we are, I wrote her bookmark, where we're moving on to. So now that she is done with Science Mom Biology, we are moving into a problem-based learning unit from Royal Fireworks Press called Ferret Ecology. So she is starting by reading this book. We will move into this. I've been kind of prepping the materials that I want to use, and I made like a little, let's see, she'll have a little lanyard here. Well, I can't really, let's see. This has her like name and picture on it, so let me see if I can cover some stuff up here just a second. Okay, so she'll be getting her little ID badge. I need to laminate this and put it on a lanyard. And she has a little newspaper that will be useful in the project, and then her like little letter or memo that kind of invites her to this project. So her role will be, she'll be the stakeholder role of a member of the Black-Footed Ferret Recovery Reintroduction Team, which is a group of scientists tasked with creating a model habitat for the black-footed ferret using Fort Collins, Colorado as a test site. The team receives a memo from their boss complaining that interest in the black-footed ferret is waning. The memo makes reference to a newspaper article about the black-footed ferret, and that validates those fears. And yeah, so that's kind of the like background on that. But anyway, so that should be fun. That's the next thing that we will be starting, and this will take us a few weeks to get through. And then if we have time, this is a book we found at the library, A Dog in the Cave, The Wolves Who Made Us Human. I think I shared this in a library haul video, but she thought this sounded really interesting. So I might see if we can work this in for her for the remainder of the year for her science. But that's kind of where we're heading in the next few months. For art, this second semester, she's been working through this You Can Draw in 30 Days book, and this is just about finished. So she is now, for the remainder of the year, moving on to Comic Arts Volume 2. She did Volume 1 first semester. And then we took a little break to focus in on our drawing skills, and then she'll move on to this now for second semester. So that is great. Latin is going fine. I don't know if we're going to finish Latin by the end of the year or not. She did decide she wants to do Latin 2 next year, which I wasn't sure if we were going to continue with Latin or if we were going to go ahead and move over to French. She will eventually start French. I just wasn't sure if we were going to do that next year or freshman year, but she said she does want to do level 2 or volume 2 next school year. So we'll see. This has, I think, 16 units, and we are starting unit 12 or 13. Oh, wait, I have it right here. Oh, we are starting unit 12 this week. So we'll see. It all just depends on how well she absorbs the information in a particular unit, if we need to stay on it longer or not. So anyway, the goal is to finish this by the end of the year, but we'll see. We've also added in Duolingo this semester. So she does her pages that I assign her in here each day. We've moved this back to 4 days a week. She does whatever page I assign her in here, and then she does 20 minutes of Duolingo. No complaints there. Gassy Chronicles is still going well. This is 36 weeks, so we're just chugging along. There's a lot in here, but it's all good information. We're trying to figure out how to get 1 week ahead in this because our last week of school, I want to focus. I don't want to be finishing up curriculum on our last week of school. There's some other things I want to do, so we're trying to figure out how to get 1 week ahead in this. So yeah, I gotta figure that out. But anyway, we are on chapter 27 this week, which is Artists Break the Rules. Modern art. Looks like we have 2 chapters on art. Oh, and Oscar Wilde. Very cool. Anyway, so yeah, it's going well. We've made adjustments throughout the year as to how we've implemented this, and I have videos about that, but nothing has changed since whenever I last updated. She's doing still Fix It Grammar. That's going fine. Do I have anything else for her? I don't think I have anything else to update on for for her. So that is my 7th graders, January, February update. Let's move on to group subject. I am excited to report that we are getting read alouds done. Now that we have a co-op that we have an hour drive to once a week, and we're using audiobooks. We finished finally The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place. We finished The Story Collector, and we finished I Can Make This Promise. So that is super exciting because, as you know, that was a struggle for us first semester. So we've gotten those 3 done, and we will be moving on to the Parker Inheritance. Both of these, and I think, let's see, where is it? So both of these, and then this one that I believe we're going to add in, a friend of mine is doing kind of a family read on this book, and I love the idea, so I'm copying it and adding to it, of course. But anyway, these all are going to kind of fit well and lead into our genealogy unit that we will start as soon as we finish our immigration unit study. So we have these 2. And then if we get through these 2 read alouds, I think we pretty much accomplished the read alouds that I wanted to accomplish for this 2nd semester. My revised list of read alouds that I wanted to accomplish for the 2nd semester. So that will be great. But we liked all 3 of these that we read. The kids really enjoyed. I think this, I guess, is a series. I think there's 2 or 3. So I think we will try to listen to the others maybe this summer because they really enjoyed that one. I have already read these 2 and I enjoyed them. So hopefully they do as well. But this is what we will try to finish the year with. So for once, I can say read alouds are going well. I'm going to try to reference my planner here. I don't have it in front of me because I already put it away on the bookshelf, but we finished Big Ideas for Little Minds, I think, our philosophy book, and we have moved on to The Short and Curly Guide to Life, and this is going well. How we've kind of decided to do this one, because there's quite a bit more reading, is I just tab the pages every day rather than doing it all on Friday. Every morning we have a little bit of group work, although they are reading this independently. I just mark off what needs to be read that day, and we each take some time independently and read whatever's marked for that day and then check it off so that I know it was read. And that way, by the time we get to Friday, we either can just do discussion or we only have like a couple pages to read and then do the discussion. And so that's been working really, really well. They enjoy this. And there's also a podcast. The Short and Curly Guide to Life has a podcast. And so we are going to start, I've listened to some of them, my kids have not yet, but I'm going to start adding that in during our co-op drive. So originally for our co-op, I had planned that one of the hours, either the hour there or the hour back, we would listen to our audiobook. And then the 2nd hour, they would do some of their schoolwork that could be done in the car. I quickly found that did not work. I have one kid who gets a little car sick when they're doing things like that in the car. And the other I found just was not doing the work at the level it needed to be done because there were too many distractions, which is understandable. So we have just been listening to the audiobook both hours, which is why we've been able to get through so many. But I'm going to add in listening to this podcast on one end of the trip. So, but anyway, that's going well. All right, let's see. We finished, I have it to show you because we're done with it, but we were doing a multiplication fluency kind of refresh, and we finished that. We finished it in January. We have gone on a field trip to the art museum. We've added in weekly co-op. All right, we're still doing Power of the People. It's going well. This is one of my daughter's favorite group subjects that we do. And we just finished P is for Pop Art. Yes, we are on to Q is for Quilts for week 27. So again, it's going well. This goes along with the book Rad American History A to Z. So we each read independently the pages in that book, and then we typically watch one of the videos, and then we'll do an activity that's in the book. My kids each have workbooks of these pages. We typically do this page and the questions. They don't do the coloring page because they don't want to. And then we do whatever other activities there are. So it's going well. They really like it. And we're right where we should be on that. Let's see. I think I need to get out my family subjects little spreadsheet to kind of check in with here. And hopefully I won't forget to talk about anything. All right, so for states and regions, we are finishing up the Northeast this week. Let's see here. So we've done the Midwest, the West, yeah, Midwest and West, and then we are finishing up the Northeast this week. And what we have been doing, I had mentioned in another video, probably several videos, we were doing recipes for each state. This semester we moved from doing a recipe for each state to when we finish a region, this cookbook has like a regional dinner kind of menu that you can do. And so we switched to doing that. We don't always use the recipes that are in here because sometimes they're just, I don't know, they're just not what I want to do. But I use it as my inspiration. So like when we did the Midwest menu, this was the menu. We skipped this cheese soup, but I did follow the recipe for the broccoli casserole, scalloped potatoes. I made my own version of meatloaf, and we did our own version of cherry pie. But at any rate, when we finish the Northeast, then we will be doing this recipe. So this coming weekend likely is when we will do, corned beef and cabbage. Ooh, but what will be pies? They won't like the corned beef and cabbage. So we'll have to see. But anyway, sometimes I make adjustments. I'll look, we have some other state cookbooks. And so if there's something that we don't want to do from this menu, I will just sub something else in that is somewhere within that region. And then when we finish a region, I have this series of true books on each region. So when we finish it, then they're assigned to read this. We also have the landforms. But so the only change other than that, we will move on to our next region, is now that we've finished Northeast, we're going to add in Draw the USA because this starts with the Northeast. So I wanted to at least finish that region, and now we can start learning to draw with states we've already learned about, and that will, as we're doing the drawing, allow us to kind of practice our recall of the state information that we learned. So this will be added in here as we're finishing the rest of our states. All right, where we maybe have fallen short a little bit is this section over here I have for art and or scrapbooking. I created a unit, like a neon art to go along with the museum visit that we did. So I made a video about my neon art unit. So that's on my channel if you're interested. We did do that. The kids made some neon art. My son made like all the elements because he's obsessed with elements. So he did all that. So we did that. We have not done our atelier art DVDs. We have done scrapbooking. But this is like the one thing that I think I mentioned in another videos that our Fridays have been taking way too long. And this is one thing, like when we get to the end and we're done, that we will drop. So we'll see, but we have at least been doing our scrapbooks. So we scrapbooked our trip to the McKinley Memorial and Zor Village. So we're keeping up with our scrapbooking, and that's good. And then for our creative writing, we are working on writing our own picture books. And so we have now drafted our story. And so like this week, what they're going to do is take that draft, which is all handwritten on different pieces of paper, and they are going to type it out. That is going to be their typing for the week. Normally they do type C, but this week they're just going to work on getting that story typed out so that will make our editing process a bit easier. So then we're going to move into editing on that, and then we will start looking at illustrations. After that, I have this book about how to be a children's book illustrator, so we will finally be able to pull this in. But yeah, that's moving right along. All right, creative writing, philosophy, ethics. I talked about that. I talked about power of the people, unit studies. So let's see. I don't think it's on here. We did, I think in January. Oh, look, here's that math fluency that I said I couldn't find because I had set it out so that I'd know where it was. Isn't that funny? So these were that was the math fluency, multiplication fluency that we did. We did tied in with our creative writing in January. We studied the Caldecott medal. We went over some information. We did a couple activities. We went to the library. So we did do that. And then I was talking immigration, wasn't I? Okay. All right. So our immigration unit study, I made a video about our immigration unit study, but I'll just kind of give you an update as to where we are right now. Our update here is we are on chapter 3. There are 7 chapters, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So we should finish this within the next 5 weeks. Fingers crossed. So what we're doing again with this is I am reading this aloud, but rather than trying to read all of this on Friday, I'm taking just a couple minutes during kind of our group work time each morning and reading a couple of pages. And that's allowing us to absorb the information a little bit more, have some better conversations and things like that. And then Friday, we finish up any reading we might still have, and then we do an activity. So anyway, this is going well. I had this book to add in. We are reading bits and pieces of this, but this is more, I've been assigning them to go read a section on their own. We just all read it independently. It just makes it easier for me when I have to read aloud everything, I tend to not do it. And we've done, what projects? I haven't done a more detailed video of like what each lesson looks like because honestly, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants a little bit. Like I have all the resources, but I'm kind of, after we finish a lesson, kind of seeing where that takes us, if that makes sense. Like seeing where my kids kind of gravitated towards in the lesson, or oftentimes I see where this connects with what's going on right now. And so I kind of pull things together as we're going, if that makes any sense. So yeah, we've done a lot. I pulled in some other resources and I've shared some of those in my Plan With Me videos, but I likely will not make like a detailed exactly what we did video on this. But I do know that this next week we are focusing in on human rights, and I got some books from the library. I got Shaping the Debate, Defining and Discussing Human Rights. I got Every Human Has Rights. This is National Geographic. And I believe these are the full text of those, I think. And then, not I think, I know. But I believe it's the full text of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. But then I also have this one called We Are All Born Free, and these are not a direct quote. They're written, in slightly more kid-friendly language. But I really liked the different artists that they chose for this one to illustrate each different one. So I have both of those. And then I also got Unshakable Eleanor, How Our 32nd First Lady Used Her Voice to Fight for Human Rights. I've been assigning them different novels and things to read independently throughout. This is this graphic novel that I decided we're going to pull in and read at the end because I really like that one. I'm trying to think of some of the things that they read. My daughter read the book, is it Finally Seen or Finally Heard? She read that one. My son is reading this one right now. My daughter's already read that one. My daughter is going to be reading this one this week. I shared all of these resources in that video I made several weeks ago. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with this and where we're going. We're not really as far as I wanted to be because I feel like I didn't have necessarily a clear vision going in. I didn't have like a laid out plan. And that's because I couldn't wrap my brain around all of it. And it was one of those where I felt like I just had to kind of do it before I could, I don't know, before I could know what I was doing. I don't know. I don't think that makes any sense. But at any rate, last week we did the lesson about, we talked about the wall. We watched a video. We looked at images and videos of the wall. The kids then came up with their thoughts about the border wall between the U.S. and Mexico. They each kind of wrote their own little thesis statement, and then they made art to illustrate their thesis statement. And then we took that this week and they tried to like zoom in, focus in on kind of one clear image or message from that previous one and make some like graffiti art to go with it. So that's some of what we did. We also, in a previous week, we talked about Ellis Island, and I had pulled in a book. I forget what it's called. It was like the kids' book of Ellis Island, and it's one of those that has like 21 lessons, I don't know, to help you understand history. And we read some pages from that, and then the activity was to like get a suitcase or a backpack and like go put all the things in it that if you were going to have to leave and move to a new country that you would take with you that would fit in that bag. And so there was that. And then I had seen in another book where you just like have a picture of a suitcase and they draw the things in it that they would take, which I had done years ago with my daughter. I think in 3rd grade, that was part of her social studies. So I was like, well, I already did that. I'll do this one. That would probably really illustrate for them kind of what that's like. So I gave them each like a Walmart Target bag and whatever. And they knew like that this was just, you know, a for fun thing. But I will say it was not a good idea. I don't recommend it, especially if you have kind of more emotional or deep feeling kids. It did not go well. It was not a fun activity. So at any rate, live and learn, but I was not winning any mom awards that day. We'll say that. Anyway, this is going well. I've blathered on too long. That's where we are. We'll probably need until week 31 to finish this. And so then we will have like 5 weeks left to do our family history unit study. That's the only other I think, unit study that I'm planning for this year. And that one I need 2 weeks for, I think. So yeah, that's where we are on immigration. All right, brain food. The section that we're on right now is a biography project. And so my kids are working on that. This is my son's. That doesn't go there. So he's reading Who Was Neil Armstrong. He's taking some notes. They're going to make a slideshow in Canva and narrate it and things. So that's where we are with brain food right now. That's going well. Let's see. Is that everything? Oh, Michael Clay Thompson. So once a week, I just stacked books on top of what I need. So we do Grammar Voyage once a week together, and then we do Practice Voyage, the sentence analysis, daily. We do one of these each morning together, and then we go over it and we go back to Grammar Voyage to kind of refresh whatever kind of topic we were working on if needed. But on Friday, we actually just go through and do one of the sections in Grammar Voyage, and that's still going fine. Nothing really has changed there. All right, I think that is all of our group subjects. I probably forgot something, but we're going to call it good enough. So that is our January, February update. I don't know. I don't know that I'll do another update this year. I maybe will do a end of the year in review, possibly, but I feel like I've talked all of this to death and not much is changing. So we'll see. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below.